gentlemen, we are here, another Facebook Live. Okay, from the Summerlin campus. Okay, we have Mr. Matt Suter. Welcome to the show, Matt. As you can hear, the real estate, you can hear the studio audience loves you, so that's always nice.
That's funny.
So
Thank
start
you.
off. You haven't done this in a while, so tell us a little about yourself, all that good stuff, please.
So I got my license about at the end of 2011, mainly for myself, just to try to do my own deals because I was buying up some investment properties at the time. I had gotten out of UNLV with a degree in finance, and being in Vegas, trying to get a job with a degree in finance, kind of rough. So started working for a construction equipment company, worked my way up, started running that company. Just basically, I started doing collection calls, accounting, that kind of stuff. Then started buying up investment properties here and there, and then realized honestly the realtors weren't doing much for me at that time. So I was like, hey, let me just get my license and start doing this myself, just so I can represent myself. I had a couple bad experiences, so I did that. At the time when I was running the company, the guy who had come before me had embezzled a couple $1 million, and so the company was bleeding. And the owner came to me and said, "Hey, what should we do?" And I was like, "Honestly, you should just close it down. We're dying here." So went closed it down. I said, you know what, I'm going to try to do this real estate thing for a little bit because I had gotten a little bit experience buying my own places, and just jumped into it and then went head in and just started developing the business and got to where I'm here now.
And then you started your own team and did
Yep.
all that, and you guys are up there. You guys are always up there in top teams in the company, so that's awesome. And you mentioned you had, and I've heard this before, where I'm working with other agents, and I'm like, wow, if this person can make it in real estate, I'm sure, I'm sure I can do really well. Did you have that same type of experience?
Yeah, it was mostly again just to do it for myself because there was a couple deals. This was the time also when you had a mass amount of short sales, and so
Yeah.
the agents, I worked for two different agents. I had lost a couple deals, and then when I went back, actually when I got licensed and I went back and I knew what was happening, I went back and looked at the files and realized, holy cow, like these people just totally screwed the pooch on them, messed it up pretty big time. So I would say I started full time in the business. I think about the end of 2013 is when I started full time, and then I think I was the number one agent with Berkshire 2016, and then I started the team that next year, and then just slowly built the team up. Had more agents, came down from some agents, that kind of gone up and down a little bit. Now we got a nice little crew going right now.
Yeah, nice little productive crew. What did you guys do? Like 125 closings last year?
I honestly don't remember what we did. I think it was more than that. I think it was like I thought we were in the 150 plus mark.
Okay, yeah, 150. Awesome. Good job. And you did a lot of them yourself. I remember that. You had like 75 or 80 of them yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. That's really good production. But I want to talk about I want to talk about some other stuff today. We'll mix it up a little bit, like those pictures behind you. So I was just telling you before we started. I'm listening to Cameron Hayes. Cameron Hayes, if you don't know who he is, he's like the best bow hunter in the world. But he doesn't just he turns it into like a marathon. Like he goes into the woods where like no one's ever been before. And it kind of reminds me of you because you do the same thing, but with spearfishing, because that takes an
Yeah.
incredible amount of in shape to be swimming. So like you have little floaties on or anything, right? You have fins, but you're out there amongst the sharks. And tell us about your event coming up in April.
Yeah, so with Cameron Hames, that's kind of the approach I've taken to spearfishing because I'm not the best diver in the world. I'm not the best free diver. I don't have the best breath holds. But the tournaments I do, when I do the freshwater tournaments, especially, it's more numbers. So I try to bring the aspect of training hard for that, like in more of an athlete than to just diving because I can't catch those guys because I've only been doing this a short amount of time. I mean, it's been like 6 years since I started, but compared to some of the other guys that have been doing this forever, I just don't have that kind of ground to gain. So I took the approach of just trying to be in the best shape as possible, kind of similar to how Cam Haynes is the best bow hunter in the world because he trains for that. He works out for that. And so that's kind of the approach I took to spearfishing is just trying to be in the best shape. I can be in the water all day long shooting fish constantly, and have the best cardio. Probably can't get the deepest as everybody, can't have the longest breath holds, but the cardio I think elevates me a little bit above other people. And I want to say in 2021, I took second in the world championships. So
Yeah,
that
I
was
remember
kind of
that.
cool.
That was very cool. That was in Hawaii, right?
No, that was actually in Arkansas. I was in
Oh,
Hawaii.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, 2 years ago I was in Hawaii and I was competing in the nationals at Kona, but that was bad. I mean, I did do a lot of scouting on that one. My kayak started sinking. I actually had to swim back a mile and a half, towing my kayak on my side because it took on water. It was kind of rough conditions. I had borrowed a kayak from somebody, and so as it was anchored and the waves kept hitting it, the kayak was filling up under one of the hatches because they weren't down, and so I had to swim that sucker back all the way back into the starting position. So didn't do too well in that one. I think the top guy got like 50 something fish, maybe more, and I think I only had like maybe 20. So
Wow.
it's still fun.
Wow, and you guys like Cam, like you just mentioned, you guys, you know, because it's kind of a family affair with him when it comes to the hunting part of it and so forth. And I know I've seen pictures of you and your little guys, and your wife does, you know, does the cook. So you guys make that whole hunting thing like a big family experience too, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, my dad usually boat captains for me on the boat, depending on where we're going, of course. You know, like the Hawaii one was all kayaks, so there's no boats involved. But yeah, my dad usually does that. One year, we actually had both my boys out on the boat with us, helping kind of bring the fish in. And we actually got DQ'd that year because my little guy, we had fish just, my partner and I each shot about 100 fish each. And so there was fish all over the bottom of the boat. We didn't think it was going to be that many fish. So they were overflowing the fish bags. We had garbage bags we were filling them up in. And at one point towards the end of the tournament, my dad's floating down the lake and hollering at me because I'm still in the water shooting fish. He's like, the boat's dead, the boat's dead. And so I swam over to him. And, you know, when you've been diving all day, you get a little bit of kind of mush brain, right? And I wasn't thinking. And I popped open the motor and it's just not starting. And it's a mess with fish everywhere. And even my buddy, we eventually got him on board and he's pretty mechanical too. And we're looking at the motor. And I was like, man, it's like it's just killed. It's like there's nothing getting to the engine. It's weird. And so we ended up having to get towed in. We got DQ'd for that tournament because we got in past the time we were supposed to get there. And I get home the next day. We actually drove home that night. It was in Lake Pleasant, Arizona. It's actually where I'm going to for the U.S. Nationals in April. And I'm cleaning up the boat and I see this little black clip on the ground, and it was the kill switch. So, you know, like a jet ski, you would have a clip that goes on you attached to yourself. And so if you fall off, it kills the boat. Well, my boat
Right.
has that too, but we never engaged that because, you know, it's a boat. Um, but what was happening was the switch, the red layer, the red lanyard was still on, but the plastic clip that killed it fell out and it was on the ground under all the fish. My little guy must have been around and he just yanked it by accident, and it came out. So we're going for redemption this year in April because we're going back to that same lake for the
Good.
U.S. National.
Good, good. And you guys also, and never mind fishing and spearfishing and so forth. You guys also go out hunting together too. Like your sons, they shoot. They both got deer or whatever it was this year, didn't they?
Yeah, last year my older son got his first cow elk. We got a cow elk January of last year, and then this year that hunt was more of like a high fence operation. I'd probably never do it again. They told me it wasn't like a high fence operation, but it turned out to kind of be a high fence where, you know, the elk couldn't get out of the area. So he did not consider that a real hunt, you know, which was good. So this year he ended up getting a doe. And then I went out to Texas this year, actually in December, with my little guy, and he got a buck and a doe as well too. So yeah,
Nice.
they both get in, and then I got muzzleloader tagged for bull elk, and so I shot a really nice bull elk with a muzzleloader, like old timey muzzleloader. I had to pack it in and shoot it, get in close range. So that was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Yeah, and like I said, it's a great family affair. You guys clean the animals and haul the meat out, and you guys eat it for all year, which is great. And that's what Cam talks a lot about that too. He says the energy and the way you feel eating that type of meat is totally different.
Oh yeah, we process everything ourselves now. Started doing that a few years ago, not taking it to a butcher. So we'll have all the meat in the house and have the kids cutting up the meat. And we got a heavy duty grinder and a heavy duty vacuum sealer. So it's just like it's a process. We're all sitting there just kind of what a conveyor belt going down the line and getting everything done so we can eat all year long.
That's great. It involves everybody too, the little guys, your wife, yourself. I think it's great. I think, that's why when I was listening to the book today, I go, this dude's just like Matt, except he does the bow, Matt does the rifle and the spearfishing, but other than that, and then he does those crazy runs. I'm like, wow, I that to me is a little too much. But anyway, whatever
Yeah,
you like.
ultra marathons, 100. I
Yeah,
think he's ran 200 miles or something like that. It's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, those are nuts. But so anyway, so yeah, and you have to. I mean, the conditioning that you have to do to be in shape to do that is part of the journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's part of the fun. Yeah, I do. It's hard to go dive right now. That's another thing too. When you have to go compete with guys in Florida and Hawaii where they can dive all year long, it's hard to go dive right now because it's cold. There's not a lot of fish out here right now. So we'll do like pool work and underwater training. I go to this class called Zero Out Fitness, which basically is a hybrid CrossFit and underwater class. So we carry dumbbells underneath the water, swim under the water, and then just do above ground stuff, burpees, ball slams. It's a lot of fun, good workout too.
I know. I see your posts and everybody taking their turn, holding the weights and walking underwater, and that's all good stuff. It's great. I mean, and let's face it. I mean, it's really tough. I mean, being in shape, swimming is like the best in shape.
Yeah, yep. I've done a lot of sports, and that is one of the ones that definitely gets you. Probably been more close to throwing up in swimming as opposed to wrestling and jujitsu and everything else I've done. It's hard. It's a lot of cardio to do that.
Yeah, and most of those swimmers that you see, the competitive swimmers, and like yourself, very low body fat, muscle, because you use every muscle in your body swimming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I bring my boys to those classes too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I see that. That's awesome. That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's a whole family affair, and I think it's great. So, I mean, and and then all this stuff is stuff that's very compatible. Like you're running a team, right? You got to set the example on the team in order to have them produce, right?
Absolutely. It's a mental thing too. I think the better shape you're in, the better your brain works too. So it helps a lot. The Zero Out class that I go to, you have all walks of life of people. I mean, you guys, they're professional MMA fighters. You got people that are just normal 9 to 5ers, kind of like me, and the whole thing is to kind of zero out your mind, and that helps a lot with I think anything you do. When it comes to spearfishing, when it comes to real estate, when it comes to anything you do, with a job, just to close out all the tabs and stay focused. But it's a cool thing to go to, and it's open to everybody. I think they do it. It's called Zero Out Fitness, Zero Out Fit on Instagram, and they do it Thursdays and Saturdays in the water, and they also do land things throughout the rest of the week. But Thursdays and Saturdays in water, it's a lot of fun, and
That's
all
awesome.
levels of people too. That's another thing they do too. So you got people that can barely swim coming out, and like I said, because it's a mind thing.
Right.
I'd encourage
People that can
everybody
barely
to try.
swim, all the way to guys like you that are like fish.
Yeah, yeah, the
So,
great
okay,
white.
do you now, like my video this morning I did, and I said one of the ways to feel content, to be happy in your life is feel like you're maximizing your potential. And I think you're a great example about that, right? When you're working every day to maximize your potential, whatever level you're at, that kind of gives you the juice to keep going, strive for the next goal. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you do. Tell us a little about your daily schedule as a real estate agent.
My schedule is different, right? Because I don't. You hear this from a lot of different people, and they're like up at 5 a.m. Doing this workout, blah blah blah. I leave my schedule kind of open for whatever comes, right? And I think sleep's the most important thing you can get. So if I'm up late working on some stuff, I don't have appointments first thing in the morning, then I'm going to sleep in to get my 8 hours.
Mhm.
Obviously I got 3 kids too, trying to get them to school, so that does get a little difficult sometimes. But I would say I don't really have an absolute set schedule. Usually up when I can get that 8 hours of sleep. Probably eating and checking emails right when I get up. Some days I work out in the morning. Some days I work out later in the day. If I have a decent home office at home as well too, and I've built a gym inside my house. So I took the formal living room out of my house and I put it like a legitimate gym, mirrors, Smith machines, everything. I got cables, leg press, everything in there. So I try to fit it in when I can get it done. So again, that's a That's a rough thing because when I try to tell my guys, they need to definitely be on a schedule to get things done. But if you're motivated, you're going to work and get your things done, you could do it at the same time. Like yesterday, I was home working, and I was talking to my assistant Lily, and I think at by 1 o'clock, I had already had calls coming in and going out, like 43 calls. And I don't cold call. That's just
Right.
business. But between those calls going back and forth from my office to my gym, I did a workout yesterday. I hit legs and I hit arms yesterday while I was working the majority of the day. So not everybody can do that, right? So I'd say it's good to stick to a schedule, but you also got to find what works for you. My whole thing is let's get it all in. And I got it all in yesterday, and I worked literally all day long. Took the kids to practice too, and still had a good workout throughout the day.
Yep. You're right. Not everybody can do that, but if you can do that too, it keeps you energized and keeps you rolling. And there was a time I worked out of my house too. I prefer coming in the office. I like the early morning workout. But what, like you said, is look at, we don't have to worry about what you're doing. You personally did 75, 80 deals last year. It's your team, right? You got to set the example for them, give them, the things they need to keep their pipelines full and to sell as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, if you
Okay,
can do it,
so
if you can work at home and you can get things done, and you'll know, if you're not putting in maximal effort.
right,
And you got to just realize it and not treat this like, I mean, you should treat this like a job, a legitimate career. I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll wait till the next thing comes and then the next call comes in. But no, you got to still treat it like a legitimate career. And you could, if you do that the right way, you could do this job from anywhere.
right.
So that's how I've kind of implemented, especially over the last year or so, kind of changed things up a little bit to work a little bit more from home, get things done around there, get my workouts in. Again, all three of my kids are in sports, so the evenings are a little hard to get those workouts in at that time too.
Right. No, I hear you. So let's go right into that. So to be the most productive in life, business, whatever, what would be the top three things you would tell them to focus on?
Um, I mean, just the motivation of it, right? Get it done. I think that's the big thing. Just get it done. Everybody that says, "Oh, I tried this," deep down, if you're not putting, like I said, that maximal effort in, you know what you're doing. So put the maximal effort into it. When it comes to this job, I think one of the most important things is knowing your product, right? You got to know all the ins and outs and everything to do with the real estate transaction. You should know the ins and outs of like construction of the house. Everything to do with title, escrow. You should know all that and be an expert at that. And then just exceptional customer service. That's the thing too. Is one of the biggest compliments I got from a client was they said, we thought at first we had to look you up. We thought at first like we were your only client, and then we looked up and saw how much business you did, and we're like, oh my god, how does he have the time to return our calls or texts right away? And I think that's the most important thing. You got to have that phone you know at your hip pocket all the time, because let's be honest, this job isn't that difficult to do, and make a lot of money at it. You just got to have that drive to answer those phone calls, stay on top of the people. That customer service is important, and good
Be
database
value.
systems too. Good, that's huge. That's one of my things I've lacked on throughout the years, and that's one thing we're working on real hard the last few years too.
Right. Absolutely. Great. Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. And last question, and the most important, how key is the tight haircut for the results?
Very important. Very important. Yeah,
Exactly.
everybody should shave the head off.
Free the hair, free the mind. That's what I always say.
There you go. There you go. Makes everything in life more aerodynamic.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And especially swimming, right? You don't need a cap because
Yeah,
you're tight.
I just go.
All right. I really appreciate any final words you want to leave these lovely people today, Matt.
That's it. No, I think like I said, the biggest thing, one of the questions you did ask was what what did I make a mistake on when I first started, and I think going back to that database system, I think that's the most important thing you can do right now is just keep all those contacts in a database, follow up with them, and know your product, have the exceptional customer service. I think that's the most important thing in this job, and be motivated. If you're not motivated, go do something else.
Right. Motivation is so key. And people go, well, I have people in my coaching say, motivate me. And let me tell you something. You can't teach commitment. You can't teach motivation. To me, you have to move the body and then you become motivated by the actions you're taking. It's really tough to mentally motivate yourself and then go. They really have to happen simultaneously.
Absolutely. This job's not for everybody. It's not that big of a deal. If you can't handle that, then, find something else that you're passionate about and then you can be motivated for. Because this is one of those things you have to be motivated to go in and make your calls or, do your follow ups. If you're not doing that, like, I don't want to do it, then again, you can't go motivate somebody to do that. They have to be able to do it themselves.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned a couple of times this isn't really a tough job, and I agree with you, especially compared to swimming with sharks, like that shark behind
Yeah.
you. I know you
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
that picture.
That's it. Yeah,
All
I
right,
did.
Matt. Thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it, my man. Look forward to seeing you soon, everybody. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Later.